My bad, people. My bad, people. What is good? What is good? What is good? Ladies and gentlemen, of course, you know who I be, the good doc, Dr. Mike TV, back again, once again, with another classic. And the doc means classic, 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 classic live stream for that ass today. Sincerely hope everybody is blessed. Sincerely hope everybody's having a good one. Doc is having a fantastic day. Official time check, 9:32 in the PM Eastern Standard Time. Yes, ladies and gentlemen, Doc is late. I'd probably be late to my own funeral if I wasn't dead. My apologies. I just had shit to do. Okay. Official time set 9:32 at 9:32 in the PM Eastern Standard. That makes it about 8:32 Central, 6:32 for everybody repping that West Coast. And now, since daylight savings time has changed since the last time the doc did a video, it's now 9:32 in the AM Philippine Standard Time. Wherever you guys are reporting in the world today, maraming salamat sa lahat, and thank you guys for joining the good doc on this live stream today. Man, oh man, oh man. Now, first things first, I want to make sure that you guys check out the live stream that me and Jay did over on the Black American Expat channel. We did that live stream the other day. It was awesome. It was good. It was raw. It was real. It was uncut. It was an open forum. And we definitely talked about some shit. And I want you guys to make sure that you check that shit out immediately. I'm reading comments, guys. I'm sorry I'm late. Also, guys, make sure you get your Destination Philippines t-shirts, man. They are still on sale as we speak. We've got a couple of customers still awaiting their orders. Doc is sending them out immediately. But again, guys, make sure you check that out. I don't think it's linked in the description, but definitely make sure you email me. Ebooks and everything else should be listed in the links in the description area below. Shout out to my boy Ahmed Global, representing Michigan, man. Appreciate y'all coming through. I appreciate y'all spending time, because Doc been over on some real shit lately, bruh. I ain't gonna lie. I've been on my own shit. But let's get it in, man. I'm not here to waste your time. You know, I gotta ask my audience a question. I'm talking to my folks. Shout out to my boy Alaska Whiskey, man. What's good, brother? I gotta ask my people a question. It's more of a personal question, but it's a question that I want to pose to the audience as a whole. Guys, make sure you get the likes up though. Don't leave me hanging on the likes. Don't forget, just because we haven't been around for a while, that y'all forgot how to do what we do when we come to the Dr. Mike TV channel. Caress, MLS, and de-stress yourself all over that like button, because it does want it, it needs it, it has to have it. Guys, want to support the good doc, please feel free to do so. Just happy that you're here to fucks with me today on this particular live stream. All right, back to business. I got a question to ask. If I can't afford to live in the best area, I do not deserve to live in the Philippines at all. Yes, ladies and gentlemen, that is a fucking mouthful. It's hard for me to even say that. It's hard for me to even title that. But let me say it one more again, just in case. If I can't afford to live in the best area, I don't deserve to live in the Philippines at all. Now, let me tell you where my mind state and my mind frame is in reference to that particular statement. So I was watching my big brother O'Shea Duke Jackson probably a week and a half ago, and he was in his particular scenario and concept for his video. I cannot remember the title off my head. He was talking about how whenever he travels, he's always wanting to live in the best areas. He was talking about how successful Black men, whenever they get money, the reasons that they move outside of these bad neighborhoods that they likely come from is specifically to get away from the negative aspect that makes up that particular community, aka the negative individuals, the bad folk in that particular area. So he was like, whenever I go to South Africa, whenever I go to places in Kenya, Nairobi, wherever he's traveling to, he says, I, under no circumstances, choose to travel, live, or want to be around, for lack of a better term, the ghetto motherfuckers in that particular area. And that could be black or white. It's not really a race thing, but the people around in that particular area that could cause a ruckus, cause a disturbance. You want to live or to travel and be around the individuals that are more affluent or, better mannered or more well behaved. You feel me? And so when I was listening to that particular aspect of his conversation, it got me to thinking. And again, I'm just trying to realize and get it together. Don't get me wrong. Don't get me wrong. Don't get me wrong. I'm trying. What's going on, Andy? The thing is, I'm trying to get my words right, so don't take it all verbatim for what he said. But that's basically the concept. When you move or you travel to certain areas, you don't want to be around the ghetto motherfuckers. Okay, you just don't want to. Like, if you come from that area and you know what it entails and you know the types of people that are in these particular areas, there's no way in hell you're even going to want to associate with people like that, especially if you come from means of your own. When you travel, you want to travel and be in the best areas. So let me highlight what that means for me in this particular statement that I made. If I cannot afford to live and or travel and be in the most affluent areas in the Philippines, I don't deserve to be here at all. Without further ado, let's just keep it real. Let's not sugarcoat the shit. If you don't have the money to at least be able to put yourself in a better living situation than you were in when you were in the United States, I'm sorry, you pretty much don't deserve to be in the Philippines. Now, let me make sure I make this abundantly clear. I want to make sure that I make this abundantly clear. The operative word is if I cannot afford to live in the better or the more affluent areas in the Philippines, I don't deserve to be here. Does it mean that you have to actually choose to physically live in these better or affluent areas? It is that you have the money to put yourself in that situation should you personally choose to put yourself in that situation. Doesn't mean that you actually have to. Now, I lived in the Philippines for a long time. Honestly, I'm not one to try to pick and choose my neighbors. Okay, let me say that. I'm not one to try to pick and choose my neighbors. The reason I'm not one to do that is because it does depend on where you are. First timer to the country, I'm gonna be honest with you, you're not gonna know what is considered to be the best areas. You could do your research, but what y'all fail to realize is, yeah, there's a particular circumference or a particular outline or a particular diameter on, that you can consider to be an affluent area. But once you step outside of that particular area, for lack of a better term, you about to hit the real shit. You about to be in what is known as the real Philippines. When you step outside of that quarter mile, or a couple of kilometers that create this particular fantasy land that you've created in your mind as the best areas in the Philippines. You feel me? So I want to ask you guys the truth. How do you honestly feel? Do you feel that as if you cannot afford to live in the best area, nobody deserves to come to the Philippines if they can't afford to live in those particular areas, the best areas that the Philippines has to offer? I'm not saying that you have to choose those particular areas specifically, because I, on the other hand, choose not to. My money is not that damn long. It's long enough, but it's not that long to put myself in a position where I'm paying US prices for shit. But do you believe that nobody deserves to come to the Philippines unless they can afford to put themselves in the best areas of the Philippines? Just my question. And that's what I'm posing to the audience today. All right? That's it. I want to hear what you guys have to say about it. I want to hear where you guys are coming from. I definitely want to hear from a financial aspect. I want to hear it from your own personal experiences. I want to hear, where do you guys fit into the dynamics of the Philippines? Do you feel as if I can't be around certain folk because I feel like, not necessarily wealth shaming, but you feel as if I'm only comfortable around certain people? I'm not saying that makes you an asshole, like, oh, I can't touch you or I can't be around you because you this, you that, and you're not on my financial level. It's more or less, I got to put myself here because this is where I want to be and this is where I feel comfortable. You understand? Is that really something that means something to you when you're traveling? And are you willing to pay the price in order to get it? The question that I pose with you gentlemen today. All right. I see we got 20 in the building. 20 is good enough for me. Appreciate y'all coming through and showing love. Y'all make sure y'all get the likes up on the video. Y'all know the rules. Caress it, molest it, distress it. It wants it, it needs it. Most definitely has to have it. 22 in the building. I love you guys for being here. If you guys want to support the channel, please feel free to do so. But of course, Doc is happy that you come through. Spend a little bit of time with him today. Now you're in den. Let's get it in, people. Shout out to my boy Terry Edwards, who was first in the building. My boy Trucker Dub, aka I think that's my boy Chris. Shout out to you, family. Robert Morris. Appreciate y'all being here. Hey, Trucker, man, I'm glad you got your truck, fam. I did see that on Facebook, man. I appreciate the shout out too. Shout out to my boy Artie Mack. Appreciate y'all being here. I hope the doc is coming through loud and clear. I hope the doc is coming through loud and clear. We're gonna touch on some topics a little bit later, man. But I'm interested to hear about your particular living lifestyle and particular living situations. Are you... See, a lot of people like to believe, and I'm going to say this out loud, a lot of people like to believe that there is no such thing as a middle class. It's either you rich or you're poor. Don't know what that means to you, specifically as an audience, but a lot of people like to believe middle class doesn't exist. You're either more so on the poor end or more so on the rich end. There is no such thing as the middle class. And if you think about it from that particular perspective, you can't really say, well, you're comfortable living in this area or that area, because it's a mixture of. To be honest with you, there is, in the Philippines, I've learned over time that there is no such thing as a mixture. It's normally either people live in extreme poverty or they live in a situation where they're semi-wealthy. I know semi-wealthy isn't even really a word. And I don't even think that constitutes as middle class. I call it semi-wealthy because, like they say, if there is no existence of the middle class, then you have to connotate and give it a name. So I'm going to call it the semi-wealthy. The semi-wealthy, the wealthy, the semi-broke, and the real broke. If that shit makes any sense to y'all. Where do you feel like you feel the most comfort? I mean, of course, I'm not going to say if you had to choose, because of course, if we all had the choice, a lot of us would choose to live in BGC because BGC is an awesome fucking area. A lot of us would choose to live in the Makati area because Makati is awesome. There are some very affluent areas in Quezon City. There's a video that I'm going to put out probably tomorrow that's going to highlight this shit. But it's like, bruh, there's a lot that you have to take into consideration when making decisions about the areas in which you choose to travel to and the areas in which you choose to live. Which is why when my big brother O'Shea talked about it, I was like, damn, he's making like mad sense. Because if you're living in these areas or, choosing to vacation in these areas, the problems that you have are likely not going to exist as a result. You did? So that's why I'm saying what I'm saying. Artie Mac, appreciate you being here. My boy Reggie Dollars in the building. Black man, Filipino wife, was good. I'm still coming on. Doc was late. It is what it is. Everybody knows by now Doc is never on time. Y'all know me by now. For the newbies who don't know me, yeah. But Doc is never on time. Shout out to my boy Frederick Mason from the Great State. Robert, my bad, G. I didn't mean to keep y'all waiting. My boy SML was good, family. Rain Man, good to see you back. Essential Classics, I appreciate y'all being here. My boy A-Dub, appreciate you being here. Andy, what's good? He says, yes, he said it's truth. Not only for daily needs, but people need to have some saving security, but that does not mean you need to live there. That's what I'm saying. You should have the financial means to put yourself in that situation should you have to. It does not mean that you have to live there. But to be honest, my question is, as I revert back to what the live stream says, if I cannot afford to live in the most affluent or the best areas that the Philippines has to offer, do I deserve to actually be here? We can talk about that from the financial standpoint, from the financial aspect, financial perspective. How your money game is, how you've been able to create your wealth, how you've been able to do such things. I mean, it all means something, for lack of a better term. It all needs to be taken into consideration, because I'm telling you right now, this makes you think about things before you actually make the move here. And the reason why I asked this question, I'm gonna be honest with you. You want to know the truth? What's going on, JD? Much love to you, brother. The reason why I asked this question is because, damn, I lost my train of thought. Give me a minute. When you talk about not being able to afford to live in the most affluent areas, like my man says, if you don't have the money to at least protect yourselves when shit hits the fan, what does that mean, my dude? What does that mean for you? What does that mean if you don't have the means to be able to cover yourself in any situation? I'm not saying that you actually have to live there in these affluent areas. I just want you to have enough money to be able to live there. And the reason why I want you to have enough money to be able to live there, because if you have enough money to be able to afford to live in these affluent fucking areas, that means you can afford to live anywhere in the Philippines you like. Let me rephrase that because I need to say that one more again because it's worth being noted. If you have enough money to be able to afford to live in the most affluent, the best areas that the Philippines has to offer, that to me means specifically that you have enough money to be able to live anywhere in the Philippines that you motherfucking please. And that's just how we're going to say it, man. I'm just going to keep it 100 because I want you guys to be able to understand that how you choose to navigate and how you choose to secure yourself through your travels and what you choose to do as far as making money and how you choose to make sure that you never go broke again, that's always going to mean something, man. That's always going to mean something to me. That's always going to mean something to you. How you choose to navigate and how you choose to view that particular perspective, that's how you going to take it, bro. Andy Omar says he avoids the ghettos and he is ghetto. I think we all have something in us that makes us ratchet one way or another. So Rayman says you need middle class neighborhoods. I don't know if the middle class exists. A lot of people don't believe that. Trucker Dub, man, you can't live in the ghettos in the Philippines, man. That shit's a little bit different. I'm gonna be honest with you. The hood in the US and the hoods in the Philippines are way different. Alaska Whiskey, what's good with you, bro? As long as he got a money stack, you can live anywhere in the Philippines you want to. I gotta agree with that one. What's going on, TJ? Yep, Strugglegate is still in the Philippines with that mask on. I bet you we all wish we had a mask like that right now. We over here trying to clown old boy because he making the mistake that he made. Shit, about right now, I'm about to ask him if he got another mask that he could let me get on real quick because this coronavirus got people tripping. Robert Morris, like you said, bro, if you have the money, you can live wherever and however you want. For real. John Doe, what's good? Appreciate you being here. Andy Omar says a bunch of foreigners are too scared to walk out of Fields Avenue. That's true. That 1 little kilometer stretch of walk, man, that got people in their feelings, bro. That's where people are comfortable. That's what I'm talking about. There are a lot of people who are comfortable in their areas. A lot of people don't leave outside of their little circumference zone. And the circumference zone is more or less their comfort zone. You're right, John. You're 100% correct. 90% of affluent areas still have squatter areas close by. Literally, the squatter areas are on the outskirts of most of these major setups, no doubt. My man Trucker says, why pay U.S. prices in the Philippines? Move there for a simpler life. Your money will go a longer way. True. He says, if S-Pat is living okay on 9 to 5, then he should stay. True. He said the squatters are just outside the tall subdivision walls. Very true. Andy Omar, are you talking? He said, is there any news on that Miko dude? That man got caught up, man. I don't know where he is now, but I think that situation was tough to even swallow. I don't know the dude. I've never watched his videos up until this point. I said I was going to watch his videos yesterday just to see what he was about, but he was a light-skinned dude. You know, light-skinned struggles. I don't know, man. I'm gonna let that go. My man Trucker says, don't live like you're super poor. He said, but you don't need to ball out either. Agree with that one, man. Shout out to my boy Bags. What's good with you, bro? Let's see what we got here. My man Andy says, I avoid the ghettos. He said, people are too problematic. There's a lot of drama. He said, it's like going back to the hood in the U.S. He said, I grew up on all that. I don't want to live in that again. He said, that's why he left L.A. Now, to be truthful, that's why a lot of people leave the U.S. specifically, myself included, a lot of people who are POCs or people of color. The reason we leave the United States is because we seem to always find ourselves in probably not the best of areas. And because of that, we get the hell out because there's nothing there for us. You understand? We've learned over time that there's not much for us there. And the Philippines provides an alternative way of living. No doubt. No doubt in my mind. No doubt in my mind. The Philippines provides an alternative way of living. And a lot of us are very comfortable with that alternative way of living. Shout out to my boy Daniel Tanner. What's good with you, bro? My man Red Lord, he says, what's good, Doc? He said, I'm just going to enjoy the country, not going to live in the junkyard, but a Nipa hut wouldn't kill me. So you got to find that middle ground. I feel you. My man Andy says, middle class is where I live. Any subdivision with a home owners association security is middle class. I love middle class Filipinos, hardworking dudes, try to live try to live off the struggle. Okay, I got it. So, okay, in the Philippines, middle class would be defined as subdivisions with HOAs. I can agree with that. I mean, there's not too many of them around, but those that are around, they definitely maintain and upkeep. They do what they can to keep their families in a a well-off area. They got their own air conditions, they got their own cars and shit. Definitely something to look into. If that's your definition of middle class, for sure. My man JD says, he said, if you're in the Philippines, you have to be on Philippine time. I'm always on Filipino time. Shit. Y'all know I'm never early. I'm always late. Shit. What's the purpose? My man Robert says, Dr. Mike, you do deserve to be there because you're still living better than you can in the U.S. Touche, my G. Touche. John says most expats cannot afford to live in the most affluent areas. Most are living on a micro budget and can't afford to live in the U.S., which is why they come to the Philippines. True that. For sure, for sure. Rayman says high class areas are old rich money. Most cannot afford to live there as houses are expensive. I mean, you really have to take everything that is said with a grain of salt in reference to topics at hand and in reference to where you can afford to live or not live. I do believe that people can afford it, but that smart new money understands that shit don't work for them. Like that old money, like that long money that comes from long generations of lineages of owning farms and shit and owning, shopping malls and whatnot. That's a whole different breed. That's the type of shit where money ain't a thing. You feel me? But it's just a rough go, man. I just want to know how you feel. Do you feel that if you can't afford to live in the most affluent areas, you don't deserve to be in the Philippines at all? It's definitely a question worth looking into. And while you guys are looking into that, make sure that you guys get the likes up on the video. Y'all know the rules. Caress it, molest it, distress it. It wants it. It needs it. Most definitely has to have it. You know how the good doc is. I've been off for a long time. All right. Doc's been away for a minute. Still making videos, of course. A lot of stuff on the coronavirus and whatnot lately. That just seems to be the topic of the town. Gonna try to switch it up this week. But make sure y'all get the likes up on the video, man. Definitely make sure you copy your Destination Philippine t-shirts, man. Email me. If you guys want to get your ebooks, man, that should all be listed in the links in the description area below. If you guys want to support the channel, please feel free to do so. Just happy that you come through and spend just a little bit of time with the good doc. Now and then. My man Alaska Whiskey says it's the Philippines, not Japan. If you're living on a tight budget in the Philippines and not at least middle class, you don't need to travel. My man Lex 500 was good with you, bro. He says a lot of expats get wiped out from divorce in the West. Even with decent planning, divorce can zero you out. So the Philippines might be the best choice, even if you have to live in a province. Not too bad of a choice. Province ain't bad. I lived in a province. I kind of liked it. I had to do a lot of sacrificing. Didn't like that very much, but there's nothing wrong with the province. To each their own, to each their own. My boy NY Mess fan says, I would stay in the hotels with good security, air conditioning, and hot water showers. Might cost me $40 to $100 depending on the location. I will not stay in some cheap Nipa hut type of place with just a fan. Hey, man, don't you knock it till you try it, bro. Even if you tried it, still don't knock it. Because a lot of us are willing to sacrifice if that is what it takes. Maybe not that far, the Nipa hut with the fan and shit, but we're willing to, dumb it, just, scale down on our amenities and necessities. My man Vamp, what's good with you, bro? Appreciate you being here. Shit. Hold on one second, guys. So Rayman You say the hood in the U.S. can be considered middle class in the Philippines because the hood in the Philippines is the squatters area. Yeah, there's pretty much no comparison. I mean, yeah, it's probably the equivalency, just without all the violence. I think in the middle class neighborhoods in the Philippines, yeah, there's no violence, nothing like that, nothing like you would find in the hood in the U.S. for sure. Uh, yeah, that dude Miko, yeah, his ass is in jail, man. He deserves every bit of what he gets, man. They need to just drag his ass, man. For sure, for sure. King Bags, my man says Dasmariñas is the best area. I'm gonna have to say Multiplina. I like Multiplina. I'm sorry. Multiplina is man, that's like one of the well-kept secrets, man. I like Multiplina. I can't front, man. I can't. TJ, man, I can't even read those comments, man. But my man said, I don't know if there's a such thing as a middle class, man. I'm just being honest, man. Some people say you either rich or poor. I don't know where this comes from. Don't kill the messenger, people. I just speak on what I've heard from my past. And I don't know. I don't know. My man Alaska Whiskey says it's not feasible for a person to either be rich or broke. I'm just saying what I heard, man. I'm not saying that I agree with it. I believe I've grown up middle class my whole life. I was never to the point where I was eating on top ramen every night, like, and that was all I had. I wasn't on, food stamps and shit. No knock on anybody who got SNAP or WIC or EBT, no knock on them, because shit, if I could get free food, I'd be up in that grocery store shopping like a motherfucker on my WIC card. I ain't playing. I never had that. I never got the free lunch at school. I think my parents made too much money for me to be able to get the free lunch at school. So I can honestly say I wasn't broke, or I wasn't broke enough to be able to get that shit. But we weren't rich either, though. I'll tell you right now, we was far from rich. I'm not stunting on nobody, man. Doc had to work hard to get what he's got now. But we do what we do. We's gonna do what we do. Crazy Joe X-Pack, what's good with you, man? There's a lot of people who can live on very little in the Philippines, guys. And that's true. But for those that do live on that shoestring budget, you see the type of lifestyle that they carry. You see the type of lifestyle that they perpetuate when they come on to YouTube. You understand? So you start to get the idea that maybe that lifestyle isn't quite feasible for everybody. Myself included. Just gonna be honest, man. Myself included. Live in a gut. Oh, okay. He said a lot of guys think it's sweet and think, what? Okay. Yeah, hold on. Let's not with that one. Anyways, my man Andy says, I can't live in the province. Everyone knows everyone. It's to the point trike drivers and store clerks are snitching on you. Oh, that's gonna always happen, man. What you think? They always gonna do that shit, bro. My man Andy says, only way to be safe in the provinces is to I'm not gonna say that out loud. You read it. I'm not about to get a strike on my video again. But do you think, man? My man Earl Owens, you believe the middle class is extinct too? Close to it? I'm sorry, man. I don't know why I believe that there is no such thing as the middle class anymore. It's weird. I mean, but the definition of the middle class is kind of skewed. Definitely. So, yeah, we're going to leave it at that. For sure. My man Rain Man says that Forbes is better than Dasmariñas. Dude, I have a video coming out tomorrow, man. I want you guys to definitely check it out for me. All right, y'all make sure y'all check out my video coming out tomorrow. It's going to be in reference to this particular topic at hand. I think we're going to definitely be able to enjoy it. I just want to be able to give you guys something to, marinate on and stew on for sure. Alaskan Whiskey, it's unfortunate that you came from a terrible family, dude. I got lucky. I definitely did. But I'm telling you, I know the struggle. I just didn't know it like everybody else did. All right. My father was military, so at the very least, I got to go to the Dodge schools and shit when I was overseas. You understand? I got to go to the DoD schools and live on base and shit like that. That's a whole different lifestyle for anybody who grew up in the military, not somebody who served. Salute to all my gentlemen who served. But for anybody who grew up in the military, had that military ID card, went to the military Dodge schools, they know that particular lifestyle is something different than going to regular schools. The shit is not the same. I can tell you it was a reality check when my parents divorced. I chose to stay with my mother. You understand? It was a reality check. It was cool for me. I didn't really give a fuck because I still went to the best school in my area. At least I believe it was the best school in my area. But the thing about it is, when you're 20, when you turn 21 and you lose your military privileges and shit, it's like a rude awakening. When you can't go on base when you want to and do the shit on base like you like to, you're like, well, damn. You lose those military privileges. That's where reality set in for myself. And it didn't necessarily define who I was, and it didn't necessarily define, oh, you broke now, or you're middle class now, or you're this now. It was just the reality of me seeing it the way that it was. My man Raymond says Forbes Park and Das Medinas are in neighboring subdivisions, but I think Forbes Park is a bit more exclusive with bigger homes. My man Crazy Joe said he was on that spaghetti and butter. I was on rice and butter for a minute. I liked rice and butter. The shit was actually not bad. Some of the shit that you had to do to stretch a meal was not bad at all. There's a lot. Bruh, DoD schools were awesome. The ones I went to in Japan were the shit. I don't give a fuck what nobody says, bruh. I'm sorry, man. Robert Morris, DoD schools, when I was going to them in the 90s, shit, man, I had the best time of my life, man, with all those other military kids, man. We were just weird, though, because those military kids, they're kind of protected. You understand? When you're on base, you live a different lifestyle than the kids off base. It's like no different than in my area in the United States. It's a whole different beast, man, when you get to go to these fucking amazing schools on base with all the military kids, where if them kids fuck up and they're going to school with the kids of captains and, fucking chief warrant officers, and they're going to school with these kids, because that's what my dad was. My dad was a chief warrant officer in the Army. You got to behave, man, because you never know who your dad knows, and you never know. So people were always on their best behavior, for lack of a better term, man. That was just my life, man. I love DoD schools, man. That shit was awesome. Man, $5,000 a month. That's a lot of money, bro. Dinner Drew, he says, it seems like Philippines would be a nice place to live, warm weather, and some of the most beautiful women in the world. Touche. John Doe says the only reason these bro guys stay in the Philippines is due to the young ladies. He says, oh, they give up free social services available to them in the U.S., but it's not going to give them any punana. Okay, I agree. Alaskan whiskey, man. The military privileges are great. I will say that. I enjoyed my military privileges. Can't complain. That's one thing I can't say. But yes, it's true. Them real school, I'm telling you, y'all thought I'm joking, man. I'm gonna keep it a whole stack with y'all. When I got to the real school, them DoD schools, man, they're fucking pampered, And then I started going to real high schools and real middle schools with the other kids in the area. And when I say other kids in the area, I mean the other kids in the area. That shit'll wake your ass up real quick. But I loved it though, man. I enjoyed the experience from both angles, and I can't front. It was probably one of the best of my life. And shit, it was just something that I did. What's going on, Kurt? He says, I've been poor all my life. It really don't matter no more. That's the reason why I act this way. I could relate to this song. Remember that rap song with those you got to tell me the name of the song, bro, because I can't remember that off the top of my head. Daniel Tanner says Palawan is nice, and what makes it unique is the fact that they don't experience natural disasters like other areas in the Philippines. Touche. Citrus Classic says that's true about living on base being different than living off. Oh yeah, that struggle is real when you gotta live with them, when you gotta go to school with the real kids. I'm gonna be honest with you. In the area where I'm from, right, and this is the truth. This is the fucking truth. You guys know that I teach, right? So back home in the U.S., there's the military school, but unfortunately, on base they don't have a high school yet. I don't think that there's enough kids on base to be able to go to the high school, to be able to build a high school, right? So all the high school kids, after they graduate from middle school on base, they go to the most ghettoest school in the area. If my hey yo, Chris, my man Christopher Lewin, Trucker Dub, my dude, tell them the ghettoest high school in our area. Tell if my man's in the building, tell him the ghetto is high school where they send all these unfortunate white kids to. It's damn near an all black school. It's a historical black high school in my area. They send all these white kids to because it's the close. You understand? And they all go to one fucking school. Unfortunately, they just happen to go to the worst school. I'm sorry, let me back that up. It's not the worst school, but it's one of those rough schools that provide what I like to call the authentic black experience, man. And I feel bad for them that they can't go to that they don't have a high school on base. That shelter life ain't nothing to play with, though, man. I love it. Yo, Kurt, appreciate the love, man. I am gonna buy myself a cup of rice. I could probably get me some meat too. Probably get me some synagogue on that shit. But I appreciate the love, bro. But yeah, man, it's no joke out there. When you got to go to the real school, shit, that shit hurt your feelings, man. But anyways, back to the topic at hand, ladies and gentlemen. I'm sorry that I got off. Oh, Po Folks by Nappy Roots. Thank you. I gotta Google it because I cannot remember that shit off the top of my head. Alaska Whiskey. They got a high school on Lejeune now. That's cool. Cause back down here in Fayetteville, North Carolina, they all go to the one off base, and that one is, I guess, my boy. My boy Chris ain't in the building right now, but it's E.E. Smith High School, man. That's the high school where all the poor. It's unfortunate that the military kids have to go there, because it's not necessarily the best school that provides the best fucking experience. But let's take that whole context and shift it over to the Philippines. Would you, and I'm going to ask you guys this, the truth. I want you guys to answer honestly. If you guys are listening, press 1. I need you guys to press 1 in the chat if you guys are listening to the good doc. Because I want to ask a very pertinent question. I believe that this question will definitely help me to get into the mindset of what you guys are thinking about in reference to how I feel. Shout out to my boy Chaz in the building and my boy Charlie in the building. Appreciate y'all being here. My man Earl Owen says, according to HUD, for San Francisco, low income 105, middle income is 115. My man Alaska Whiskey said, I went to a terrible school in Savannah, Georgia. Didn't even show up to graduation. Received my diploma in the mail. That's tough, bro. All right, I see my people pressing 1. Okay, let me ask y'all a question. Would you guys be willing, and I want you to be honest, I want you to give me a yes or no or whatever it may be, but would you guys allow your kids to go to school in the Philippines? I want to know that. If for anybody who has kids, anybody who's thinking about having kids, would you bring your kids to the Philippines to go to school if this is a place that you plan on living long term? Would you consider bringing them here? Do you believe that you would want them to study here? Do you believe that you would just leave them in the U.S. to go to the U.S. schools? What do you think would work best for you? Thinking about the military kids who are forced to go to certain schools or certain high schools that they don't really like, would you be willing to let your kids study abroad? And this is not from the perspective of military. Military, you have no choice. But if you had the choice to uproot, leave your life, come to the Philippines, like my man Alaska Whiskey, he would say Japan, I'm sure. But if you could have your kids study abroad, not just during college years, but during their growth years, would you let your kids study abroad, or would you want them to just go to the best high school in the area in which you're living in? Or how would you work out the upbringing of your child? Would you homeschool? Would you believe, or would you allow them to go to school in the Philippines? What do you think would work best for yourself? That's what I want to ask you guys. And I appreciate you guys paying attention and actually answering. I appreciate that. Alaska Whiskey, I know you ain't about having no kids, bro. I know. But entertain the question, my G. Just entertain the question. I know you ain't going to have kids. But if you did, would you, study abroad, or would you just send them to the best school in the area that you possibly could? Rayman says send them to a private school. A private school in the Philippines? Okay. Tommy, he says, hell yeah, college is way cheaper in the Philippines. So you would let them go to college here, but in their more developmental years. If we're talking about, elementary, middle school, high school type, would you allow them to still come to school here and just send them to a private school? What do you guys think works? Okay, so a lot of people are saying that they would bring their children, or to allow them to study abroad in the places here. That's cool. My man Robert says, yes, because my kids already have Filipina and I would put them in a good school. Touche. All right. Kurt says, I will let them go to school in the Philippines. Them kids seem appreciative of the education a little bit more. I love the fact they wear uniforms. They never heard of mass shootings here in the school. You know what, Kurt? You bring up a hell of a good point. Doc did a video a long time ago. Oh, y'all gonna make me find my video. A lot of people watch that video. I did a video on what it's like teaching in the school system in the US versus teaching in the school system in the Philippines. And one of the things that I mentioned is the fact that, and I hate to say this shit, this sounds so wrong when I say it, but I want you to understand where I'm coming from. Filipinos would rather hurt themselves first before they hurt anybody else. Okay, if they're going through a problem, an issue, or anything like that, I have always noticed, to an extent, not all the time, but to an extent, when it's something school related, maybe bullying or something like that, I've noticed that the kids and shit will really cause harm to themselves before they cause harm to others, as opposed to, like I said, bringing a weapon to school to harm somebody, or like we talked about before, the MS word, the shooting word. All right. They won't really partake in activities like that. For example, I know, and it's unfortunate, I know these people, but you have these kids who put a lot of stress and pressure on themselves to do well in school. So if they get a bad grade or a bad mark, or they don't do well on an exam inside of a classroom, and they put this pressure on themselves, they'll hurt themselves first before they hurt anybody else. I can come across a multitude of different stories about people committing suicide. Unfortunately, I've heard some stories. I've seen some things, man. The shit just sucks. But in hindsight, when it comes to the shooting part, you don't really have that. I mean, you do realize they have security at every school that checks every bag. They may not, they check you too. They search your body a little bit. They rub around your waist. I mean, if you really wanted to bring one, and I'm not saying that you should because it's fucked up, you probably be able to get away with it, but it's just different, man. The Philippine lifestyle and the Philippine schooling is so different. If your kid is a foreigner, your kid gonna get all the girls, period. I'll tell you that right now. It's automatic for the most part that your kid's gonna get all the girls in the school just because he or she, well, he more specifically, is foreign. Now, I don't know. I'm kind of biased, guys. I'm gonna be honest with you. I don't know if I had a baby girl, I don't know if I would let her study in the Philippines. I don't know. I'll be honest with you. If I had a baby girl instead of a son, I don't believe that I would be comfortable letting my baby girl study in the Philippines. The only reason that is because I'm looking forward to the idea of her dating, and I want her to have the best dating options humanly possible. I've learned over time that if you do send your baby girl to a very good school, you might end up having her associated with some rich douchebag children. Okay. If you send them to regular school, doesn't mean that the pick of the litter is going to be any better. So thinking about my daughter's dating options, because of course all girls are gonna date regardless of the fact. I just have to take that into consideration and put that shit in my head, regardless of whether I want my baby girl to date or not. She's likely gonna have a boyfriend one time or another in life. I'm trying to figure out about putting her in the best situations to meet the best quality of dudes. I'm just not feeling that you're gonna find that in a lot of areas in that particular area. I'm sorry. I don't know, man. That's just Doc thinking out loud. Y'all can say what you feel about that one. Rayman says private schools are better than public schools in the Philippines. True. Earl Owen says my one daughter was an exchange student in Chile. That sounds awesome. Sounds like a great experience. Alaskan Whiskey says if I had kids in another life, then yes, I would send them to private school. Essential Classic says I would consider having my kids study abroad. I think it said I wouldn't want my kids to deal with what I dealt with locally. Touche. So everybody seems to be in agreement. Red Lord says I'm not having children, but it's better to let them learn there. All right, appreciate it. Daniel Tanner says I would bring them there. Damn, seems like everybody's on that wave, man. I mean, I'm glad that you guys are thinking the way that I am, because I would definitely let my child study abroad. I want my child to learn multiple languages, man. I want my child to be able to get it right. Sometimes it just don't work that right. It just don't work out the way you want to, bro. Alaskan Whiskey, man. I'm not sure if I would send her to America, but damn it, that might be my only option. I don't have money to let my daughter study abroad in some rich ass city like Italy after, post coronavirus issues and shit. I don't think I have the money to send her to like places like like Italy, like places where she could put herself in better dating situations. Sorry, but that's the truth. Her ass gonna be homeschooled. How about that? I can do homeschool. Um, mm, 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 mm. Bruh, I'm afraid that I already know, man. If I have kids, my first one gonna be a girl. I talk too much shit. My first child gonna be a baby girl, no doubt in my mind. Alaska Whiskey, Canada sounds good. That might be a good idea. I just want my daughter to be in a place where she can have better dating options than the US and damn sure better dating options than the Philippines. I'm sorry, guys. I'm very picky. I'm a very picky father, and I ain't even got kids yet. That's the problem with me. I'm just thinking ahead of the game, ladies and gentlemen. Alaskan Whiskey, I never did think about Canada, but that's definitely going to be on my list. No doubt in my mind. Mm, 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 mm. All right, ladies and gentlemen. I've spoken my truth. Doc has gotten his bones about the entire situation. I didn't plan on being long, very long. I just wanted to share in this dialogue with you, gentlemen. If you can't afford to live in the most affluent or the best areas in the Philippines, you don't deserve to live in the Philippines at all. Just definitely interested to get your perspective on it. Guys, I appreciate you partaking in the chat. Red Lord, I'm not sure if I want to send my baby girl to China right now. I'm not sure. That feminist shit. We gonna have to. I'm gonna have to G check that shit at the door, my dude. I will tell you that. Doc will G check that shit at the door. It ain't happening. She gonna have to get her mind right. She gonna have to understand that that's not how that game goes. But with that being said, I've got to get on with my business, man. I appreciate y'all being here. I appreciate you guys being a part of the team. With that being said, let me go ahead and get my quick shout outs real quick. Alaskan Whiskey, my boy Red Lord, Big Brother. I see you guys, Daniel Tanner, SML, my brother Robert Morris. Appreciate you guys. Kurt, appreciate the love and the support, my dude. Tommy's Philippine Journey, appreciate you. Essential Classics, Earl Owens, appreciate y'all being here. My boy Vamp, always a pleasure, man. Appreciate you guys showing love to the good dog. Appreciate you guys being in the building. For those in the background, for those that don't know how to comment in the videos, for those that are just here for the entertainment purpose only, or here to hear what people are saying, or to just, be sneaky. I love y'all too. Thank you for being here too. All right, my boy Chaz, my boy Charlie Sullivan, appreciate you being here, bro. Dinner Drew, appreciate you, my dude. Thank you for being here. John Doe, always a pleasure, man. My boy Bags, appreciate you being here. Crazy Joe X Pat, my boy Byron Hall, much love to you guys. Thank you for being a part of the show tonight. Andy Omar, man, good to see you, bro. TJ, thank you for being here. If I miss you, leave your name down at the bottom. I'll take care of it. My boy NY Mets fan, been a while, bro. Appreciate you being here. My boy Lex 500, appreciate you being here. Rain Man, I know I got you. I'm getting you again. Artie Mac, appreciate you being here. My boy Trucker Dub, TJ, thank you guys for being in the building, showing some love to the doc. Y'all could have been anywhere, but you decided to spend a little bit of time with me, and I'm highly appreciative of that. I'm Ed Global, man. Much love to you, Black Man, Filipino wife. I have got to get a real name for you so I can stop calling you out like that. My man Terry Edwards. Thank you, gentlemen, for being a part of the Good Doc show tonight. It's fun. Definitely good to have you guys in the building. It's always a good time when I'm able to converse and congregate with my people. Kurt, I'm going to check that Nappy Root song in a minute. I got to finish shooting this video so I can put it out tomorrow. But other than that, we're good. All right. Much love to all of my people, man. Thank you for being a part of the squad. Thank you for being a part of the show. And with that being said, the Good Doc is officially out. At least nako. I'm sorry. At least nako. Which means I am going now. Bye-bye. As always, love you guys. Makita. Mabuhay. Peace.